Hello my friends and welcome. My name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine, and yes, I am currently in Ukraine. If you wonder what chart do I use for review, well, I'll put the link in a video description. You may check it out yourself. Well, let's zoom in to the eastern front line where Russia puts their main forces to occupy the cities like Severodonetsk, Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. They still hold this idea to intervene here and to circle our forces to cause them surrender. I'm sure it won't happen because yeah, we have all the surveillance that we need. We have American intelligence services providing the information about moving Russian troops on the front lines. We have our surveillance drones and other stuff that will tell us the next move of Russia. The rumors say that Russia put their one of the main generals to Izum city. They occupied this city on the 1st of April, and they now going from the city for their offensive operation. However, in nearby 2 days there was no major movement from the Russian forces except of this point in Rubizhnya. So they moving towards the Severodonetsk to occupy this city. I'm sure that many civilians fled those cities like Severodonetsk, Lysychansk and all of those villages. Of course, some of them stayed, but I think 90% of civilians already left their homes for good after what we've seen in Bucha near to the Kiev, how Russian forces actually killed civilians for purpose. There is no any safe way to stay in those cities and villages near to the front lines, because Russia, they still have lots of troops, lots of vehicles, lots of tanks. They actually are able to move and occupy those cities. That's what I think. So we need to free our troops that are here, that are controlling the Transnistria, that are controlling Mykolaiv area. So our troops are all over Ukraine. We are controlling this part of the border with Belarus, because we are not sure if Belarus will offend through the north on the side of Russia. So we don't know. So we keep our troops here as well, but we have less troops because of this stuff, because we need to spread our forces all over Ukraine. Let's say Ukraine is kind of big country, it's bigger than France. So yeah, it's kind of complicated. So Russia still has this idea to occupy those cities and make our forces surrender on the eastern flank. And yeah, they go to occupy Severodonetsk. There are a few of the bridges connecting Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. They are quite strategic. Probably I would bomb those bridges not to let them cross this river easily, because they're staying away from this river. What's the name of this river? I don't really know. I'm not a local guy. Oh, we have one more bridge over here, so it should be destroyed, not allowing Russian forces to go from Rubizhnya to Novodruzhsk and Lysychansk later on. But I'm sure our forces know what they are doing. We have good military command. It's not 2014 and we have major help from our allies. So for Kharkiv, actually we were able to take this village, Ruska Lozova. So it was occupied. Now we were able to take it back under Ukrainian control. It was the major village because here you can see the road. So Russia may use this road for supplies. Now we took this part of the road, and this village was used actually to fire rockets for Kharkiv. If you don't know, Kharkiv got bombed by Russian shells, Russian bombs, Russian aviation for a long time. Many of the buildings got destroyed and many of the civilians lost their lives. And about the Mariupol here, well, Kharkiv is more populated than Mariupol, but still Mariupol is the hardest place we have in Ukraine. Some of the civilians are holding in Azovstal factory as well as our military, and for now I don't see any way how we can free them. Just maybe negotiations should go with Russia. However, you know, the UN president went to Russia the day before yesterday. They spoke with Putin, and after he came to Ukraine. UN President, Russia fired the shells just to the Kiev. It was yesterday, and actually the rockets, the cruise missiles, they hit civilian buildings as well, and one journalist lost her life in Kiev because of that attack. And UN President was really shocked by this event, since he is in Kiev. He was in Moscow just yesterday, and he's in Kiev, and Russia starts to bomb the UN President. So it's outstanding, and Russia shows the barbarian way of war, not only against Ukraine but against the world, I would say. Yes, my friends, there are still some of the countries that are not supplying military aids for Ukraine. However, they may help with some humanitarian cargoes. But my friends, all of the nations, after all, finally would apply sanctions for Russia. It will not be tolerated by the world, by United Nations, etc. So yeah, we have support from the Western countries at first, United States, and yesterday Congress voted for Lend-Lease. It's the second time in United States history that they will provide the military aids for Ukraine, and it's not about javelins anymore, my friends. They will provide us with tanks, fighter jets. You will see that we will have all required weapons to fight against the Russian forces, at least in Ukraine, and probably gonna have some forces to fight them back, because they still use Kursk, Starostokol, Voronezh, Belgorod as their main hubs for the military. We don't want to bomb civilian places of Russia. We want to bomb their airfields that are used to bomb our civilians buildings, our civilians in Ukraine, and not only. I have tons of questions asking me whether we'll be able to train fast to use Western made weapons against Russia. My friends, there is no big problem with that. All our history of independent Ukraine, we did the common drills with NATO allies to fight the enemies, so we already trained for a long time to use their weapons. We saw their weapons. We regularly send our forces to their countries in Germany, in United States, UK, so we have the idea how to use UK or United States made weapons, France made weapons, and others. So it's not a big deal. And if you got the weapons from the United States, it goes, for example, from the United States, it goes together with the shells, with the required maintenance. It's like you buying a car, it goes together with guaranteed maintenance. It goes together, in that case, with every supplies that are needed for usage of that weapons, and soldiers training is also provided with weapons delivery. So we have lots of soldiers now who went to the Western countries who train to deal with Western made weapons, and they will come together with those weapons Lend-Lease to Ukraine. And for the Lend-Lease you don't need to pay. So they excluded the parts that they introduced in the Second World War, then they helped Soviet Union to fight against Germans. So now you don't need to pay for that stuff. If the vehicles or armored vehicles or something survived after the war had ended, you need to return that. That's it. If you want to keep that, you need to pay. If you don't want it anymore, the war is over, you just return. If it's not survived, okay, it's gone. You don't need to pay for it. So it's very easy for Ukraine, and the help is unlimited for everything. So it's up to the sole decision of the President Biden what types of weapons should they send to Ukraine, and I'm sure we'll see at least F-16s in our Ukrainian army. For military pilot, it's the hardest thing to be trained on other airplane type, but we have lots of pilots who are very experienced. And then I went for the general aviation, then COVID crisis stroke, and I wasn't flying. I went here near to Pavlograd. There's Maiske airfield, and it was used to train also military guys. And I spoke with the military guys, and even young boys who trained in that Kharkiv Academy. Well, my friends, they are very, very, very professional. So I'm sure that they will be capable to fight on Western types of the airplanes. They have nice English, they have professional knowledges. So even then I was studying in National Aviation University, I had less knowledges compared to the military pilots I was speaking to. So my friends, I think those guys are awesome, and they will get the F-16s in their hands, and we're gonna fight against Russia, and of course we're gonna win. There is no other way for us. We cannot surrender. We will fight till the end, and the end will be not for Ukraine but for Russia. My friends, I'll keep you updated about the situation here in Ukraine, and if you want to support this channel, please go to the video description just below. There is the links for PayPal and also Patreon. Please join our Patreon crew to have the special perks from my side, and as always I donate part of the money for the charity that you send me. My friends, stay awesome wherever you are. Wish you a peaceful sky and have a great time.